Well, hey, this is Bob Gums in Kampala, Uganda, formerly from the Bronx, New York, and I'm bringing you the Concerned Forum. I hope you don't mind the blank wall. Hey, it's going to take us a little while to, get up some pictures or bookshelves or whatever. Unfortunately, with what's going on back home in the States, I just didn't feel like it waiting to throw in my 3 cents, quite frankly. As you might be able to hear, I'm playing my Billy Joel. Uh, for some odd reason, he brings me comfort since I've left New York and have come over here to begin this media venture, shall we say. There's couple of things I wanted to kick with you and, make a few observations. Uh, One of those observations is that what's happening at home, the deportation and ICE and all that garbage. Uh, I've sensed a slight rift between I'd say Latino. I think that's a proper term, but some people prefer Hispanic. So let me be colloquial and just say between the Hispanic community and the Black community. Now, here, look, this is the problem. And you white working class folks, you know, sit in on this also. All right. We have a problem in America. We've had it for a very long time. It's called racism. Racism makes people do things, very foolish things, even when they don't realize that that's what's causing them to do it. Right? Ah, thank God for Heineken. Anyway, they kind of sit in the middle. The reason being, I'm a born and raised New Yorker, right out of Harlem, right out of the Grant Projects, as a matter of fact. Um, but see, my dad, he was from the American Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, to be exact. His dad was Dominican, and his mother was Haitian. Everybody on his side of the family is Spanish speaking, and he's about my complexion, you know. And I know, unfortunately, in America, people really don't understand the whole South America Caribbean thing, right? And the mixture of cultures. So, I get that. That's part of my heritage. That's part of me, right? My mom was a lady from Central Virginia, right outside of Richmond, like a Broad Street Road. Okay, so don't worry, Mr. Trump. I'm a native-born American. My dad was an American citizen. So was my mom, right? So you want to come after me? Be my guest. But as a matter of fact, I'm more American than you are. Okay, seriously. You know, and I'll save that for later. But anyway, it pains me to see how evil people have tried to pit Black Americans, which I am one, against Hispanic people, which, at least through bloodline, I am I am also one. And that really angers me because, and for you Caucasian brothers and sisters, from middle America. Let me tell you about this guy, Trump, because I've been watching him since I was 13. I'm same neck of the woods. And that has been his game ever since he came into public life to divide people. The new Republicans, because that's another thing. I'm out of a Republican family. My old man and my mom were rock rib black Republicans. As a matter of fact, my old man ran for the assembly in Harlem as a Republican. He was the vice president of the Morningside Heights Republican Club, right? So I know the Republican Party. No one can give me any damn lectures about what it means to be a Republican, right? Been there, done that, was born into it, right? And as a matter of fact, that ain't nothing special, okay? Because when I came in the world, most black folks in America were registered Republicans. They started voting Democrat for FDR, Truman, and Jack Kennedy, right? But they carried their Republican registration for quite a long time. So I can honestly tell you that what we're facing now in America is not a Republican Party, right? This is what you have. What's the fancy way of saying it? This is an embryonic fascist movement. It is not the Republican Party. They have some holdovers uh, from the time when Republicans were decent American citizens, but uh, that's where the similarity ends. Now, what these thugs, this is what I call the today's Republican Party for the most part. They're the thugs, or they are people who have, it's comprised of thugs or people who have doped up their consciences so that their conscience is asleep. Okay? That is the Republican Party of today. Now, what these folks with Trump have been doing, right? They formed this thing, MAGA. They have basically tried to appeal to the Hispanic community. Um, their easiest target were Cubans because, unfortunately for the Cubans, they had their problems with Castro. And just like the Secretary of State, he is the child of Cuban refugees. Quite frankly, I think, what's a good name for him? Judas. And they basically put it out that, listen, you're not like those black Americans. You're not lazy. You want to work for a living. You love your families, so on, so forth. The noise in the background, we got some serious ass watchdogs in this building complex. So that's the noise, the distraction that you hear every so often. But anyway, that's what they did. See, and they really, they lured in the Cubans, especially the Venezuelans, Colombians, what have you. Remember in Miami, right? I love you, Trump. I love you, Donald. Right? And then you saw what happened, right? After he got elected, yeah, he took office. First, first people he goes after are the Latino people that really, sold their souls to be with him. Because you see, Trump, MAGA, Republican Party, they gave Hispanic people the idea that, listen, we're going to give you a white nationalist card. All you have to do is hang out with us, vote with us, right? And that's what, unfortunately, far too many Hispanics did. And then, boom, the next thing you know, you're waving bye bye to your wife as she heads down, back down to Havana. see, or to Venezuela, whatever the case may be. Now, unfortunately, too many of us in the black community, I don't know. I guess it's because so many in the black community, and we have our dupes also, but not to the extent that you had in the Hispanic community. So you have the situation now. You have many blacks saying, "Oh, well, listen, we told those people stay away from Donald. He doesn't mean you any good." And I mean, I had a woman tell me that where was she at? Was it Maryland or was it Florida? She was volunteer for Harris. People actually throwing stones at her in Hispanic communities, saying, "Oh, look at Trump, we're Americans," And like a black American told me, listen, we got on our knees begging these people, don't trust this man. Don't vote for this man. And they scorned us and they voted for him anyway. So the hell with them. Listen, and I will tell this to my Hispanic brothers and sisters. Uh, yeah, I understand how that black American feels. I truly understand how he feels. And see, I'm the kind of person, I believe, I'm a strong believer, and I told you so, right? Because we all have to be accountable. But there comes a point in time where you have to get over it, right? People made a mistake. You don't, you can't, you should not condemn people for a mistake, from here to eternity, right? They made the mistake. It's done. It's over with. Now you have to, as a Black American, you have to ask yourself, what kind of human being are you? Do you think it's cool to just stand by and watch children being dragged out of hospitals and schools, right? To watch husbands being separated from their wives, to watch military people being dragged away by ICE, these jackbooted stormtroopers, all right? Because that's exactly what they are, who think they can march into all our community with no warrant, right? The basic principle of American law is that, you know, somebody wants to take you unless they actually, unless they actually see you robbing the bank or something like that. No cop has any business coming into your home or your place of business or your place of worship or in the hospital unless they have a warrant. Because, see, that's another problem. Because of Trump, you have so many of these white nationalists running around that, hey, it's real easy to get some combat gear and a weapon and say, "Hey, I'm ICE. I'm part of law enforcement. Come with me." No, no, that's not the American way. Right? Now we fought against that kind of crap with the Ku Klux Klan, and it's a damn shame that we have to fight it again. I do believe that communities need to band together to protect all the people in their community. If ICE has a legal, legit reason for taking someone, hey, that's fine, right? We can argue that in court. You do it properly, that's what courts are for. Take the person, you show you have a warrant for that person, and we go to court. But to march into a community and just start taking people, well, that's the same thing that the Nazis did in Warsaw, for example. All right? In America, we're supposed to be above that. So you black Americans that think that somehow you're cool Because, hey, well, they just going after them damn Hispanics. I ain't got nothing to do with it. You're stupid. If you believe that, you are stupid, right? Yes, the Hispanic community, for the most part, show very poor judgment. Their leadership sucks, right? And they have created huge problems for themselves and for the rest of us, believe it or not. But that's done, right? They made that mistake. Every movement makes mistakes, right? When the colonists here rebelled against Britain and they had their movement, right? Their movement made big mistakes. But you have to get beyond that, see? Especially for those black folks who are Hispanic, who are Spanish speaking, right? Because what's going on now should not happen to anyone, not in the land of immigrants. And I get so tired of hearing this bullshit about, oh, it's okay as long as they come here the right way. Well, God damn it, this country didn't come into being the right way. People forget that. You need to have some tolerance, number one, right? Remember, Columbus didn't discover a goddamn thing, right? There was a civilization here operating, owned by someone else when he came here, right? So please don't, I get so tired of that bullshit. And as far as, well, how come they don't have their green card? Well, number one, Trump is he's trying to kill the green card, right? He was saying, well, you can stay here with a green card only if I say so. Since when we do our laws like that here in America? What the hell is wrong with us? And again, going with the Black Americans, you have people like, what's his name? Tim Scott, that clown he comes on ESPN, Stephen Smith, the big mouth, right? Um, what's the other knucklehead? That kid, that black Congress guy from Florida, thinks he's going to be the next governor, right? We have people like that. Don't let these people try to speak for us, okay? No, the black community is not a monolith, right? Exactly. You have black socialists, you have black Republicans, you have black Democrats, you have black Republicans, you have black atheists, black agnostic, black holy rollers, right? Black Catholics, right? So no, we're not a monolith. But when it comes in terms of basic survival, right? Of basically following the Constitution, that we fought a damn civil war uh, to basically change and maintain. And you have these black, I call them shoeshine boys, singing Donald Trump's praises, right? No, these people should never, ever be in a forum of black people or of any other American group because you supporting a person that doesn't believe in the Constitution. Now, the Constitution gave you the right to be a free man. They're supporting a guy that doesn't believe in the Constitution. So why in the hell should we support them or any other person in public life that supports Donald Trump? Seriously, I don't understand that. I don't understand why anybody would say that my opinion is wrong on this one. Should we support Hitler? It's what the hell has happened to brains in this country, and what has happened to leadership? Now I look at this guy Stephen Smith and Tim Scott and that shoeshine boy in Florida, and I say you're supporting an administration that went into the Pentagon and ran through the halls of the Pentagon, tearing down the pictures and what have you of black war heroes and women War heroes. I don't, why the hell should we support people like this? From under what rock did they crawl from? Crawl from under. So this business about, oh well, that's the Hispanics being carried away. That has nothing to do with me as a Black American. Bullshit. If you believe that, you are an ignoramus. I'm also a member, not only as a registered Democrat, but I'm also a member of DSA. I'm also a member of the NAACP. And I am sick to death of not hearing a peep out of the NAACP. I don't go for this bullshit about, well, they work behind the scenes. No, you need to be out front. Democracy is a frontline issue, okay? And people, they need to see you out front, actively working to defend it. And if you're not doing that, then you're wrong, right? The same way that I would not stand to see an injustice done to Italians or the Irish or the German Americans is the same way that I would not stand by quietly and see an injustice done to Hispanic people because that's wrong. We need to speed up our immigration process. Yes, we do. Okay, the backlog because we don't have enough people actually doing the job. Listen, I can think of very few people who I would be more opposed to than Ronald Reagan. But Ronald Reagan, he did have some good points. He said when Americans turn their back on immigration and close the door and build a wall around this country, that's the day that she is doomed. And he's right about that. He was right about that. So I don't know who these so-called Republicans think they are. They're not Republicans. Like I said, they're fascists or they're willing to put their conscience asleep and bend the knee to fascism. And we need to call it out for what it is. Remember that guy in Germany? They came for the communists. I wasn't the communist, so I didn't do anything. Then they came for the socialists. Well, I wasn't a socialist. So I didn't do or say anything. Then they came for the trade union people. I wasn't a member of a trade union, so I didn't do or say anything. And then one day they came for me. But by that time, there was no one left to say anything. That is what I have to say to Black people who think that what's happening with Hispanics doesn't concern them. Trust me, and knowing racist as I do, believe me, if they're doing this to Hispanics now, you ain't too far behind. We ain't too far behind. Okay? And for my brothers and sisters of all ethnic backgrounds who are serving in the military, I hope it doesn't happen, but it looks like we are heading there. You're going to have to one day, possibly very soon, come face to face with just who you are. Are you a patriotic American serving the Constitution? Or are you going to bend the knee and serve a warped, twisted fascist who wants to be a god? See, that's the thing about when you have a country that's based on laws, right? Unfortunately, you have some of the Supreme Court that, I don't know, apparently they missed out on a lot of things in law school, and I suspect quite a few things in life. But the laws are there, pure and simple. And this business about putting concentration camps in the Florida swamps, that's just another way of trying to bring back slavery. And if you don't recognize that, then you are really, really ignorant. So that's something I just wanted to get off my chest because, unfortunately, because of the fact we don't have any very little real leadership in the African American community, and we follow behind rap stars and athletes, anybody that gets on TV. I mean, which is fine, you know. But if you're going to be on TV, have the decency to know what the hell you're talking about. Don't be like Bill Maher, okay? Who shoot your mouth off about what you don't know. Um, and if you are a person of color, we don't do the blackface anymore. You don't have to be Al Jolson and shine shoes, right? Hear that, Senator Scott? Hear that, Stephen Smith? You don't have to perform, right? We're in a desperate situation in this country, and I think that people need to act like it and realize it. And it's time for everyone, black, white, yellow, red, brown, it's time for everyone to pull together and kick in like patriotic men and women, right? That's it. I just had to get that off the chest. Now, as far as this clown with the this Epstein business, look, uh, and MAGA, everybody else listen in, but MAGA, this is definitely for you. You chose to sell your damn soul for a pipe dream. And I don't know, you didn't talk to people who were born and raised in New York, especially for you young in your 20s and 30s. Maybe you needed to talk to somebody a little bit older from the Northeast that knew the Trump family, that knew about Fred Trump and knew about Donald Trump. And because if you did, and you still supported that guy, then I don't know. I guess we're all brought up differently. I guess you were brought up with morally lacking, quite frankly. As far as this business about Trump and Epstein, well, look, everybody who knows anything about New York and our celebrities, our well-known people, blah blah blah. Everybody knew Trump was the low down dog, right? All of a sudden now you're freaking out because you're like, oh wow, we were supposed to go after the elites and their filthy lifestyle of, attacking and raping young girls below the age of 17 and 18, right? The man told you in 2016, he likes to walk around grabbing the sex organs of women he didn't know. I mean, that said it all. That tells you what kind of person he was, but you didn't care because somebody told you that blacks and Latinos were taking away your country, and you believed that dumb shit, right? So you ran, yeah, 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 well, listen, um, now you're upset, but you know what? I think it's more than you being upset because you know that either Trump himself was a pedophile or you know that he was the best buddy of a pedophile who, by the way, might have been connected with the Israeli Mossad, right? That really pisses you off because a lot of MAGA people, that anti-Semitism thing it's there, it's deep in the bone, right? But it's conflicted. Because, see, when it comes to the Middle East, you see the Jews as the white people and the Palestinians as the dark people. But here in America, You see Jews as the enemy, right? I mean, it's racism can be so strange in America, man. It's just incredible. But see, the thing is, right? All that is going through your mind. But see, you also have the problem that, oh, those watchdogs are driving me nuts. But as I was saying, you also have the problem that you starting to realize that with that so-called big beautiful bill, hey, grandma might be out in the street. They're gonna kick her ass out the nursing home because her Medicaid is gonna be cut, right? You might be losing your food stamps, especially you female magnates out there that have kids, right? Because you have started to realize, but you don't want to admit it, that in America, poverty no longer just wears a black or brown face. There's a whole lot of white folks in this country who are desperately poor. But the idea of white nationalism somehow, you got to be in the club. That's what MAGA is all about. But now, see, subconsciously, you have an excuse to break away from MAGA because, well, Trump hung out with pedophiles and he's used by the Mossad. That's on the one hand. And on the other hand, you're thinking about your health care being shot down, your kids' health care being shot down, your parents' health care being torn to shreds. And somehow you try to carry two thoughts at the same time, right? You're not ready to put them both together. But this whole thing with Epstein, it kind of gives your head kind of a safety valve, right? Well, how do I think about it? I think this might be a good time for you to break away from America, quite frankly, because now you see the lie. It wasn't Obama and Biden that cooked up this all the lists and everything like that with the pedophiles. No, 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 no. It was your boy Trump. Okay, What- don't look at me. He's the one that said it. I'm expose the FDR murder. I mean, excuse me, the JFK murder. I'm going to expose the King assassination. I'm going to expose the Epstein thing with the underage girls. I'm going to bring it all out. And so now that you're a president again, you're going to say, oh, well, there's really nothing to see. Come on, man. This is the thing. I'm not trying to get on a racial high horse, but this is the thing that amazes me, especially with working class white people. Why do you follow people that think you're stupid? Seriously, this man thinks you're stupid. Trump thinks that you guys are stupid. Why in the hell would you support a guy that says that veterans are losers? Right? To qualify that? Hey, how about a Marine four-star general that was the chief of staff of the President of the United States? Not to mention the things that you heard the guy say out of his own mouth. Oh, big gala function at the White House. Oh, don't bring any of those wounded, disabled veterans there. It spoils the ambiance, right? But you follow that guy. Right? Listen, one of the greatest disasters to affect America is the election. I should say the entrance of Donald Trump in American politics on a national level. but it might have been it might turn out to be a good thing because I tell you, quite frankly, he is taking America right down the toilet. But if we can learn from this, all of us, of all groups and backgrounds, maybe, just maybe, we might have a chance to save our chestnuts, right? But I tell you, it's a very iffy proposition because this country is going down. It's going down hard. Maybe that's the way. I don't know, I don't consider myself religious. Spiritual, yeah. And maybe this is, fate is trying to show you something. And I know here I'm going to catch you up for this, but maybe that's what them floods in Texas was all about. Because Texas is a prime example of a MAGA Trump state, a MAGA Trump red state. And folks in Texas, all you had to show for being a loyal red MAGA state is death. They're still finding bodies. I'll make a prediction. I predict that the death toll will probably come up somewhere close to 300, somewhere between 250 and 300 people. And being a father, being a parent who lost a child uh, through gun violence while I was stationed away from him, um, I take no joy in anybody losing a child. But you have to ask yourself, you did vote for a crew that wants, that cut um, National Weather Service, warning and all that kind of stuff, right? And what goes through my mind is why would well, what goes through my mind, it shows you the poison of racism. Because let's not joke about this. The basis of MAGA, the basis of Trump is racism. That somehow dark people are taking stuff away from white people, right? And that's what you voted for. I mean, you got people out there now, they're losing everything thanks to Trump. And they will still, I'm still MAGA, I'm still with Trump. And it's so sad, really. It's sad to see people caught up in a cult. But that's what Trump did. He created a cult. And people they voted for their own doom. Take a look around you, and in America, take a look around. The people who are getting banged up and cut down the most by the Trump policies are his supporters. What does that tell you? I would say to a voting Republican in Texas, if I say, okay, let's go to basics. I guess that's why I'm a radical because radical means you go to the root of a given situation. Medical or Medicaid, right? That means that you can have it to take care of yourself. But what do you use that for, right? You use it because you're sick, right? Or you're trying to stop from getting sicker. In other words, your health, right? So therefore, it's something that is important to your existence, right? Being able to go to a hospital, have health care, that is definitely related to you being able to walk around on this planet, right? So if I tell you I'm going to take away your health care, I'm going to take away your ability to be well or to get well, or if you're sick, to be able to be taken care of decently. If I say I'm going to take that from you, what does that tell you? Does that not tell you that I don't value your existence as a human being? Because if I valued your existence as a human being, I would want you to get whatever health care is necessary to perpetuate your existence, your life, right? National Weather Service, what do they do? Some of the things that they do. Okay, well, they warn people in the event of a natural disaster, right? Hey, a hurricane is coming towards you. Do something. Run away. Go here. Go there. Just get the hell out of the way, right? I'm warning you. Ah, rains have been heavy. Floods will be coming into your area. Move. Leave your home. Go to safety. Why do you tell people like, why do you tell people that, right? Well, why would you tell people like that? Why would you have an organization that would say that to people? Well, I would guess, and I know I'm not the brightest bulb in the chandelier, but I would guess that the reason that you have National Weather Service warnings for things like hurricanes and tornadoes and floods is because you do not want people to get hurt or to die, right? Now, sometimes you can warn people without warnings, and people are going to wind up dying or getting hurt anyway. But the idea is to try and save as many people as possible from that grim scenario, right? So that's two, right? The healthcare and the weather warning, right? They're both important to maintain life, right? So those are two things right there. Now, just looking at those two things, why would you take that away from people? Why would you take away the ability for people to perpetuate their lives unless their lives held no interest for you, the folks who are taking away those organizations, right? The healthcare, the National Weather Service warning people, right? So that's two. Now you also want to take away the Department of Education. Now, we already live at a time when the states don't have the money to sufficiently educate people. Now, here we are in the 21st century, right? Highly competitive, highly competitive, right? You got a president of China, the BRIC nations, they're trying to overcome us and, beat our economy. Okay, so that means what? That means that you need to be able to have people that have the brains to A, understand what the hell is happening to them, and B, be able to do something about it. But your crew says that We ain't gonna worry about that. They don't need that. They don't need no education, right? So that's three. So basically, you're following behind the crew that says that we don't care if you die for lack of health care. We don't care if you are killed because you didn't get a warning about a hurricane, flood, tornado, etc. And number three, we don't give a damn if you or your kids grow up in a modern high tech world and you're ignorant, right? So I'm trying to understand why in the hell would you vote for people like that? Are you so full of hate for dark immigrants? Legal, illegal, I don't give a shit. All right, we're talking basics here. You you feel compelled to vote against your own interests because people are saying that, yeah, these dark people are trying to take everything from you. But you're going to vote for people who happily take away your ability to maintain your life, your ability, your children's ability to educate yourself into what's going on in the modern world. Huh? Ah, and what is the was it nom de plume or nom de guerre of this crew? Well, we're anti-woke. For the life of me, when I first heard that term a couple of years ago, I would ask myself, what the hell does that shit mean? Anti-woke. That's like wake, right? Woke is like wake, right? You have to be awake to be woke, right? And I remember when I was a little kid having to go to St. Thomas the Apostle in the fifth grade. I can remember my mother yelling, "Bobby, get your ass out of bed! Wake up and get your ass out of bed and get to school." Okay, mom wanted me to wake up and go to school. I thought that as I got older, I said, "Well, gee, it must be a good thing to wake up and get washed up and get dressed and walk to school." Right? And if I messed around and stayed up late the night before, and if I started to look like I was going to doze in class, Sister Mary St. Raphael would come around that room. Wake up, Robin, wake up. Okay, so to be asleep and miss what was going on in class was a bad thing, but to be awake and paying attention to what was going on in class, that was the right way to go. So now I hear this all these years later. I see these Trump people and MAGA people and Republicans talking about, oh, they're the left, the Democrats and progressives, they're coming out with these woke philosophies. Well, wait a minute. What is that a bad thing? Become a bad thing? Huh? Why would I want to? Why do I want to go through life asleep? Ever tried walking across a busy intersection, being asleep with your eyes closed? Not smart. Not a smart thing to do. But yet, that's what you voted for. Texas. You know, I know I'm sticking my neck out on this one, but maybe we're spending the Democratic Party might be spending too much time with internal strife. I think we need to start asking voters, hey man, what's up with this? Are you supporting people that want you to stay asleep? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Oh God, America, America. God shed its grace on thee. Listen, my hope is that Republicans, MAGA people that still have some gray matter left, I hope that they take this whole Epstein uh, situation and use it to get themselves out of that MAGA mess. I really hope they do. you know, because one thing with this Epstein business, you now have a chance to see Trump was full of shit. Okay, to put it mildly, right? Biden and Obama had nothing to do with this crap, right? It was a lie. So what you need to start asking yourself, you're starting to see that Trump lied to you about Epstein and his involvement with Epstein, right? I mean, they were best buds for what, 10, 15 years. Now, if you want to believe that you can be a close, good buddy with somebody for 10 to 15 years, while this guy was running hundreds of underage gals through his fantasy island, well, if you want to believe that that's possible, more power to you. But, well, put it to you like this. You know that's bullshit. And if he was bullshitting you, this guy Trump, if he was bullshitting you about something like that, what else was he bullshitting you about? You think about it. And then you go check on Mima, right? And do what you can to try and make sure that she doesn't get thrown out in the street and kicked out of the nursing home because she don't have no more Medicaid. Or maybe Mima can go out in the fields and, pick some fruit and vegetables since you are deporting all the Latino workers. Is that what you think America's supposed to be about? Come on, MAGA folks that still have brain cells left, ask yourself, is that what you signed up for? So whether you hate me and my black ass, whether you hate me or not, you still ain't gonna have your damn health care. And gotta think about that. Yeah, I mean you should. But hey, you're all the grown folks. You do what you think is best for you for a change. Listen, just some thoughts off the top of my head. Take care. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. God bless. Catch you next time. Peace.